just when it gets quiet and I decide to go within, understanding just, breezes its way in. The dynamics of why the people behind the scenes, the puppet masters, or the spirits, there's a reason why their faces are out there. It's not because they wouldn't want to get all the glory. It's because, and I figured this out even in like the welfare system, that there are so many social workers because they're buffers, emotional buffers for the people making the choices. The people making the choices, they already know that this is going to oppress the people, and the people are going to come at the social workers because it's the social workers that are telling them no. When people come into our lives, they draw close to us, we have to pull a version of them from within us to create an aspect that is like them, that is mirroring them. Because we have an aspect that is drawing that, but we don't see ourselves as them. And so we have to draw out another form to understand and relate to keep it there, to resist against it, whatever it takes. We have to manipulate and interact with this form in order to figure out, like, why is this here? How do we pull it in closer? How do we push it further away? So these people behind the strings, they just gotta go and read charts of the stars, or the energies of where things are going to be popping up, and then associate with that energy and tell the people below them, the people that they're controlling, go get me that. I've taught you how to obtain things. I've taught you how to read people. I've taught you how to manipulate everything. Go get that for me. And so then it's that person who's in the public face. Every hand they shake, every person who watches this video, some form of, I have to draw from within me an aspect of them, a sense of them, so that I know what I'm interacting with. Like, people will comment and I'll be like, I think they're, bad comment, or I'm expecting good comments, and it turns out they're messing with my brain. They're casting a spell, whatever they're doing, but I don't know that unless I can feel it within myself. Okay, I would never come at somebody like that using those words, but that's what's there. So now I gotta delete them and hope they detach. But there's still, I've added to my village. I've added to my burden. And if I don't know how to heal and bring into harmony all these aspects I'm creating by interacting with other people, then I'm in complete inner discord and misery. And so that's the reason why we came up with a system where one person stays home and they only have so many personality aspects to interact with, keep organized, are put in there firmly, have certain morals, have certain standards, have certain methods of responding and reacting. And the reason that it became the woman stays behind as that immovable anchor was cemented in personalities is because the man is out there having to create more within himself to bring into harmony before he brings it home to her, who's now got to use her cemented in to interact with whatever he's bringing home. So it's like spiritual cooties, but it's more like a recreation of the cooties outside. But the reason for this is because a woman who is not in a state of fear, science has shown that her child will have a smaller physical form, but a really highly developed intellect. Because there's nothing to fight against. It has a peaceful environment. It doesn't have to build up that ability to create all these different mirrored aspects while in the womb. It's safe, it's nurtured. But a woman like me, I thought it was a source of pride. I had 6 kids, and even though I smoked through all my pregnancies, they were all born over 8 pounds. They were huge, and they were perceptive. They were psychic. They were intelligent as well. But they came out huge, and then they got petite forms because they had such a high intellect to match that. They didn't have to use their physical form to go hurt people or defend themselves. And I kept them in a safer environment for the first 5 years of their lives. They were whole life unschooled. Except for my oldest, she went to school until 2nd grade, and then she refused to go back, and it took me a few days for her to tell me why. And when I went to the school and I said, this is what's happening, and they said, well, we know it's the right thing to do, but the teachers don't want to invest the time in separating that troubled kid out. So your daughter has to be the one to not play with the other kids. And I was like, you want to homeschool then? She said, yes. I said, okay. And so from then on, all my children were breastfed. They were kept at home with me. The interactions with other children were only children of people that I interacted with. So they had the ability to form very strong, cemented in aspects before being dragged off into the world and subjected to all this other stuff. So they have a more cemented foundation. But that's why the ones behind the scenes stay behind the scenes, so that they can stay focused. They don't have to give so much energy and attention to the insanity of trying to incorporate so many other personalities. And again, that's why the one staying home and being that anchor for the other one who has to go out there, who normally has the more physical strength to do so, the body to bring in and manage all of that. That's in a fear-based world. Now, if we're not in a world where everything is eating one another and consuming one another and all of that, then we don't need such a defined structure. But just to understand, that's why the people behind the scenes don't want to be the face, and why we might want to leave these tidbits, these trails behind, but we don't want to be constantly interacting and drawing attention to these people. Set the pattern up, leave it out there, and the ones wanting it, working for it, will find that support in this. But in the meantime, isolation is not a bad thing. Tending to yourself, fortifying yourself before going out. It's like, my life has been a sprint and a condense, and a sprint and a condense, and a bring more in and a condense. And usually it was forced by these outside forces that were manipulating me. Oh, we're gonna open doors, we're gonna make her feel good, she's gonna start moving. Okay, that's where we want her. Poof! Now slam her, get her depressed, get her repressed. Don't let her grow, let us feed off her. You know, all that good energy that I was drawing while I was moving, they get to circle me, and then they get to get it. I mean, people have sent gifts for me, but because I was with the wrong man, he would take it, go spend it on something else, and I ended up with absolutely nothing. So isolation's not a bad thing when we know the reason for it and how to make use of it. And I wouldn't have even needed this slowing down of the physical self through the manifestation of illness if I hadn't already developed that pattern. So now that I've learned this process, because I already broke the habit, I already broke it, because I felt the incoming and I started to get consumed by the movement. And then I said, no, I remember this lesson. I remember what happens. I want to slow down, because understandings, this is like a year ago, understandings were just coming to me like they are now. But I said, okay, I'm going to slow this down, because I know every time I run with it, I get slapped and cut off. So like the check that was supposed to be coming doesn't come. So now I've got, a debt that I've created through taking on a bill, like electric service and stuff like that, that I can't fulfill because that income that was supposed to support it is gone. So I learned to slow down the momentum, to reform the insides before moving on and taking more on. So that's a key that we might want to follow the example of. Grow in spurts. We are in a consumerist society. We are in a commodity-based society, and you have to constantly be growing it, expanding it to keep up with it. That's so you don't have time to incorporate it, make it self-sustaining. Like, there are old people, their family farms, their family businesses, they're not going down, while those who have tried to keep up with demand, with the market, they expand and then they collapse. Oh, time to recharge the computer too. So I thought that insight might help somebody.